That is a Renaissance Christmas motet entitled Mirabile Mysterium. We're going to sing another Latin piece for you. It's a Latin arrangement of O Come, O Come, Emmanuel. So we hope you guys enjoy it.
Ms. Giles? Can they be seen on TV then?
No, not very well.
Could they be if you kind of turn them all around, if you chose to do that?
Yeah, if you chose to do that.
Would you like to do that?
Then you won't hear maybe quite as well, but
All right. Can you like go that way a little
Everybody
bit?
move up the road? I know I'm disturbing the whole world here. They're too fat.
yeah.
Ladies in the first row, will you come to the first row? Please. We're just trying to get you on TV. Maybe the same way, but just come up a few rows. Same way you were.
Like, just go down that
Be
road.
fine.
As though you're sitting in the row, but just stand
Yeah.
there.
Keep going down, keep going down.
Sorry, Miss Brudell.
That's okay. They could be able to speak from anywhere. Just stand
Keep going
sections.
down.
Just stand sections, kind of fill in the rows here.
Oh, okay.
We're good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And gentlemen, you kind of take the back aisle.
What? No, it's TV me.
And gentlemen, slide down the aisle. Guys, just slide down the aisle.
I'm just trying to get them on TV.
A new formation. Okay, ready? Turn the one.
Emmanuel.
next selection we have, we're gonna lighten it up a little bit. We discovered that almost every single secular Christmas song has fa la la's in it. So we decided to put them all in one song. So this is our 30-second fa la la. And I don't know if you guys know who the Pentatonics are. They're an a cappella group that became famous on YouTube, and now they're all over the place. So our next arrangement is actually their version of Silent Night, which is a wonderful piece. One more for you if you have time. It's our arrangement of Carol Bells.
Hark, how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing the cheer to young and old, meek and the bold. Ding dong, that is the song we joyful ring, all caroling. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, holly, ho, raising a sound, gaily dare, ringing out its knell. Gaily ring, while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here. Ding, 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 dong, ding, 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 dong, ding, ding, ding.
talk here?
Thank you, Mr. Dell. Yes.
I'm the worst public speaker in the world, so this is a mistake. But thank you so much for inviting us here today. We always enjoy being able to come here to the school board to share what we've been doing in class and in after school activities. This particular group is not a class. We meet after school 3 days a week for an hour and a half each time, and put together some acapella music like you heard today. This year we've done 2 shows, and the last 2 weeks we have performed, well, this group here has been out gigging, if you will, since last Thursday. We've performed 3 times down in the historic, in the square, and we've also went caroling at the Floral City this year. So we've had a great kickoff for our holiday season. We've had a lot of fun with these youngsters. As far as our program goes, we have a chorus concert coming up this Friday, and it's going to start at 7 o'clock at Citrus High School. That's featuring all the groups that we have, our chamber choir, as you guys have heard here, Breeze, which is our show choir, concert choir, our beginning girls ensemble called Congrio, and some various solos, including some members from our high school band as well. And it's a free concert. We are just asking that when people show up, they bring a can of food or a box of food for admission. All the food's going to be donated to our RPC program that they're going to disperse to Citrus United Basket. And that is it for our holiday season. So thank you again for allowing us to be here, and happy holidays to you all.
Thank you very much. All right, at this time, if we could all stand for the singing of our national anthem, and the group that's going to sing, if you guys could come on up. And then followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Della, thank you. Students, thank you. Very, very nice. I need a motion for the adoption of the agenda as recommended by the superintendent.
I move to adopt the agenda as recommended by the superintendent.
Second.
It's been moved by Mrs. Bryan, seconded by Mr. Kennedy, to adopt the agenda as recommended by the superintendent. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carries 4-0. Thank you. Next on the agenda is citizen comments. Do we have any citizen comments? There'll be a time at 5:15 for comments on any subject other than those on the agenda. Could I have an approval of this consent agenda? Motion?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Dodd, seconded by Mr. Kennedy to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carries 4-0. Now recognition of donations, please.
We have a $500 donation to La Quinta High School for Diane Damron, a $500 donation to La Quinta High School from Elite Roofing, a $2,000 donation to La Quinta High School from Diane and Kobe Damron, and a $600 donation to Full City Elementary School from Full City Water Association.
And to all those who donated, thank you so much for supporting the school system. I guess next up we have Ms. Wilson, financial statement.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to go over a little bit of where we are financially right at this moment, or as of October, which is the financial statements you were given with your board packet. There was very little change to the budget in October. We did receive $101,089.72 from CCEF, which is for over 100 mini grants that were awarded to teachers this year. That was received in October, so that was reflected in the budget amendment. For the financial statements, we've received about 20% of our revenue, which we budgeted for the year as of October 31st. In November, we received our first tax distribution for this year. It was approximately $6 million. And we also received the class size money in November. Those two things came in November, so we should be seeing a little uptick in our revenue collections. The expenditures, we have spent about 25% of our budgeted expenses, which are pretty much in line. We have 3 months of school that have gone, we've undergone, so that's pretty much in line with where we were last year. With the proposed increases in salary, the fuel prices looking like they're going to stay low, I'm projecting that we should, within about $200,000, hit where we budgeted on our fund balance this year.
About 200, did you say?
Within $200,000.
Oh, so 1,000, I thought
Yeah.
200, wow.
$200, that would, but we have saved money between subs, and then fuel prices are projected to stay low, according to Ms. Farmer, so. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Bishop, with Human Resources. Susie's going to come and speak with us.
Good afternoon. I am here to seek approval of the instructional and support recommendations as outlined in the Goldenrod.
Let's take a few moments to look over the Goldenrod. Ready? We can entertain a motion.
Move to approve the instructional and support recommendations.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Ms. Bryant, to approve the instructional and support recommendations. Any discussion?
I see Phil McLeod is going to teach a class at the jail. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So he is, those students attended Christopher High School, so he is working through that.
Good for
Yes,
him.
sir.
That's it.
And I see on the agenda a resignation from drop by Mr. Plauder.
Denied.
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 Second.
That's how we vote. Very, very sad to see that happen. Very happy for Mr. Plauder, but worked with him so many years, and he's such an incredible educator and researcher and supporter of the school system that it is sad for us to see you leave, Mark. So thanks for all the years.
Thank you, Mark, for your service.
You ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 4-0, except Mr. Plauder.
The next agenda item is I'm here to seek approval of the moving 2 positions that were licensed nurse practitioners, LPNs, and making those positions RN registered nurse positions.
I move to approve hiring 2 registered nurses to replace the
two open licensed practical nurses positions.
Second?
It's been moved by Mrs. Bryant, seconded by Mr. Kennedy, to replace the two open LPN positions with two RN positions.
May I address the board at this time?
Oh, please.
I just wanted to share with the board that I did have a very detailed conversation with Mr. Dodd and some questions that he posed, and I feel we answered to his satisfaction. He was just questioning how many positions we have, and are we looking to request the board's, or on my recommendation, request the board to seek making LPNs who have retired RNs, and I said we were just doing it for these two positions because those are the two that were open. And we are seeing an incredible need for our students who are emotionally and medically fragile. That was the need for it. And I hope I was able to answer all the questions that you posed to us.
Yes, I was interested in this, just to get kind of a little overview of our number of nurse RNs versus LPNs and the plan that's going ahead. And I know you had said to me, I think there will continue to be 4 existing LPN positions who are longtime employees.
That's correct.
And there's no change in that plan for those LPNs.
No, we value their experience, their knowledge, and their longevity with us.
But on the other hand, the upgraded position to RN is something that you have said is needed on the basis of, can you expand on that a little bit more too on the upgrade?
Every year in the last several years that we've been keeping data, we've seen an increased number of our students who are emotionally and medically fragile. And many of their services, if not all of their services, can only be attended to by an RN. Specifically, not only the care and need of those students, but developing an individual health care plan that every one of these students needs to have on a yearly basis. It's renewed, and the RN is the nurse who can write those. After she writes that individual plan for each of the students, then the LPN is trained in that proper procedure, and then it trickles down to the health room attendant at the school. But that RN is the person who oversees that responsibility.
And even though we don't receive very little funding from the county health department, I know you explained to me, because I had some questions in regards to what benefits we receive from the county health department. And I guess one of the dilemmas there is the fact that if we were to look for additional funds, that the caveat would be that they could control things. We may have to have an empty position, they may not fill it. There could be a lot of services that may go unmet.
Correct. The money that we receive for the support of our program through the health department is revisited every year. And they've had their budgets cut very drastically in the last several years. Even the parent facilitators that they provide for us for the help of mass screenings that are mandatory, and they do provide a salary for one LPN, that is revisited every year. We never know if those positions are going to be supported or not. The other part to that, and you remembered our conversation, thank you, is that they wouldn't be our employee. So there are times when the health department would pull them, which they've done in the past. Maybe about 15 years ago, they supplied us with 3 nurses, 1 for each of the high schools, but they weren't our employees, so we weren't able to move them from school to school where there was a need. You're very welcome.
Yes.
And Ms. Allegretti, maybe you can just, for a second, weighted funding, I don't think a lot of our needs always come with weighted funding too, right? So a lot of this we're having to, because of they changed some of the criteria in order to get that additional FTE funding.
If I'm hearing you correctly, the services that we provide, we don't bill through Medicaid. We are going to be doing that in the very near future. Right now, we just bill for services through our students at Crest.
Okay.
But no, you're correct, those services that are provided. For example, for those that might not be familiar with what Mr. Kennedy is asking, some of our students who have specific medical needs, those needs can only be adhered to by an RN. So there have been times where we've had to take an RN from one of our schools to be with that student for the duration of the time whether the medicine's dispensed or their medical needs then are taken care of or they're changed through a doctor's order. So we've had to move our staff around to make those accommodations. And no, we're not compensated for that at this time.
And that's what I was gonna say, because I know during my visits, and I know we've seen the increase in need, but boy, it seems as I go around some of the schools, it just seems like there's been a more intense need at elementary level. For some reason, that just seems from different schools, and it's not like it's one need or one reason. So I'm excited that we have this. I too, being a son of an LPN, I value LPNs, but I also have a lot of RNs, and I understand the difference, and I'm appreciative that you all are bringing this forward, and hopefully that'll attract some people into those jobs too, that is helpful.
Yes, and thank you for bringing that little piece up. It is very hard to secure an LPN. We have had 2 open positions for several weeks now, and we've had 2 people apply. One of them has not earned her degree yet. She's still seeking that, and we had 1 other person. We find when we have RN positions that we do attract more applicants for that. And just so the board knows, it's not that the nurses are leaving because they're unhappy. One of the LPNs is leaving because she's in the RN program. It's something she's aspiring to become an RN and does want to come back to our district. And the other one is left for family reasons. So they're very happy, they're very complimentary of our program and the needs how we meet the needs of our students. So I thank the board for their attention to this request and that they realize the need for it. Thank you.
We can take a vote, yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0 carries. Thank you.
Thank you, have a good evening.
Thank you. Yes, oh my goodness. Shirley?
Hello. I would request approval of the best practice self-assessment report for school safety and security for the 2014-15 school year.
Move approval of the 2014-2015 best practices self-assessment report for school safety and security.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Mr. Dodd, to approve the 2014-15 best practices self-assessment report for school safety and security. That's a mouthful. Any comments?
Yes, I had a couple questions just on the best practices. On this self-assessment report was for the 14-15 school year. Is that correct? And so we are going to now have this self-assessment, which is something that is done through your department, Cherry? Or okay, that takes place at what time during the school year? Is that for this next self-assessment reporting?
We do it during the month of November.
Okay, so this month of November that it's just been completed is going to be
14-15 school year.
was 14-15. So next November we'll do the 15-16 school year. So one of my questions that I had centers around the issue that we had at Lecanto High School and the assessment of that. I had a question about the after action report, when those things would be coming down for us to look at, that was a terrible tragedy. It was an incident that this board takes very seriously, I know, and the safety concerns of our school system is paramount. And, I wanted to know a little bit more about that process on when we'll have some information regarding everything with that event, with the after action report, with even things that I can think of dealing with, is there a better way to evacuate a campus? Is there another access point?
I think Mr. Bradshaw needs to interject on a couple of things.
Then starting to get into safety and security plans and what we do, which is confidential and exempt under Florida statute, so it should not be discussed in public, what we will or won't do or what are actually going to occur. The confidential part means that it's not disclosable to the public. The exempt part means it's exempt from public records. So, but we can have an executive session to discuss all of those actions that we would or wouldn't do, but legally, we can't discuss that.
Could we maybe make that request then, that we have a closed session?
Let me say something first.
Not today, by the way.
After that incident, the afternoon of the incident, and I'll just give you some generalities, the Lecanto High School staff met and debriefed about the entire situation. That evening at 6 o'clock, Mr. Mullen and Mr. Bishop attended the EOC debriefing with the Sheriff's Department. Last week, myself and our staff met with the Lecanto High School staff. We put all that together along with their SRO officer. I met with the students on my advisory group that Monday after. The Wednesday after the incident, we had councils on campus. We opened it up to all students, all staff, anyone who felt like they needed to visit the school and see, obtain some counseling. And also that counseling is ongoing. So what our plan has been was that now that we will meet also with the Sheriff's Department again, and then in January, and we're hoping like at the January workshop, that we will have a closed session. Sherry will review all the notes. Mr. Bradshaw said that she can either type them and let you review them there, but then you must return them back to Sherry. But we'll go over everything that we felt like that happened or what you might need to make changes on. And as for the evacuation, Mr. Bishop, Mr. Dixon has been involved with the county, and they are doing the entire process and looking at the entire town.
Right. And I'm not trying to, I don't have complaints. I mean, I think the information that was shared to the board was adequate. I think we were kept, or I was kept in the loop. I'm sure the other board members were too, which is very much appreciated. That your staff was able to react very promptly and working with the sheriff's office. I'm not at all faulting what is taking place. I just, again, wanted to know about our process as a board to be able to look at this incident. And if there does need to be corrections made, or if there does need to be anything that we can learn from this event, which there will be, then I want to make sure that we as a board are on top of that, and that we send that message to the members of our students, our faculty, that this is an important item that we don't take lightly, and we will not take it lightly. So that was just what I want to know. And I know, Sherry, that we had talked, and I appreciate you explaining to me some things with the self-assessment report, and that a lot of those things in this report are just real general topic items, which we've done very well on an annual basis. But I just wanted to make sure that when the discussion was right, Mr. Kennedy brought up a request for a closed session, an opportunity to visit that, and I agree with that. I'd like to have that opportunity so that we can.
And we have that on our January workshop schedule, along with other things, but for to have the closed session, because we do agree that we wanted to be able to share with you all things that we felt like that we did very well, and things that we might need to make a little bit of difference in. So, and things that students share with me. So we want to be able to do that in the closed session in January. Okay.
And I just want to echo Mr. Dodd's desire to have that, and appreciate again the superintendent doing that. I also would just like to echo too, I really appreciate as a board member you working with your staff to keep us informed adequately, to let us know what is needed, while at the same time trying to be on site as you were, as Mr. Mullen was, Mr. Bishop, and even Mr. Bradshaw, who happened to have just been in a meeting at that time and found himself out on campus getting rolling his sleeves up. Well, it was good because I think your phone, we needed an extra phone that day. So I appreciate that, and I believe we had some other digital media things in place as far as radio communication that was positive as well. So I'm just pleased with that, and I look forward to hearing those reviews.
That's great. I think we're fortunate to have Mr. Dodd's perspective for the life he did live, to the life he's living now. Yeah,
I'm glad to have that.
Really good for them. Ready for a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Educational Services with Mr. Carter. And Mr. Carter, this is your last meeting, right? It's your last meeting.
That is correct.
Who are you handing those off to?
Oh, you're going to have to. Yeah.
Mr. Mullen sent me his request, so thank you. Good afternoon, members of the school board, Superintendent Ms. Simmel, Assistant Superintendent Mr. Mullen, and Board Attorney Mr. Bradshaw. come to you with a agreement that basically was added after the articulation agreement with the College of Central Florida, and it's in regards to the Collegiate Academy. Legislation 1007.273 requires that service areas of community colleges have to have a Collegiate Academy within their service area. Our service area includes Marion, Citrus, and Levy County. And so Westport High School has been designated as the Collegiate Academy. I remind you, board members, actually when I first came to this position, we actually had a Collegiate Academy over at WTC, and we had some students who actually graduated with an AA degree and did actually graduate on the campus of the College of Central Florida. I think about 12 students we actually had at that time. And so there's kind of the history there. We did not renew that program because, again, that would have been a very extenuating SACS accreditation for WTC to actually go through. So that is what we bring to you today, was the approval for the Collegiate Academy articulation.
Madam Chair?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you want to take
No,
it? Do you want to get a motion first, or I want to just?
No, but let's do the motion first, yes.
I move we approve the agreement for College of Central Florida's Collegiate High School program.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Mrs. Bryant, to approve the agreement for College of Central Florida's Collegiate High School program. No comments?
Yeah, just, it brings up a question. What would it take for us to say at one of our campuses, say Citrus High School, to make a high school collegiate? I know Westport is a bit farther down because I believe most of their students, or many of their students, graduate with an AA.
Yes.
But
my understanding.
But Citrus High, I think, is one of our high schools that offers the most dual enrollment on campus, or it seems like they have the most flexible schedule for that currently.
Sure.
So I wonder, is that something, and I know it's a big question, but I mean, maybe it's a question that.
Obviously, down the road, we have to get the qualified professors to be able to teach on our campus as well. So I think as a challenge it is to be able to get those teachers who are qualified, that the college qualifies. We're having some challenges with that right now at all three of our high schools to be able, again, we're encouraging the dual enrollment courses to be offered in our campus. At the time that we did the Collegiate Academy, we did actually work with the College of Central Florida to bring them in. So that would be it. It would basically look at conversation. But again, we're in a really great situation when we have the College of Central Florida Lecanto campus right in our own district where the students do actually attend. But again, that would be a conversation that we could have with the college to be able to look at what would it actually be. But again, I believe and I understand that there is a SACS accreditation specifically for that school. This is going to be Mr. Rowland's area.
And I would just like to add, I know Citrus High School is trying to get an academy started for next year as well. So I know we're not talking about specific school, but all of our schools at that time would have an academy. And I think most of the time when you look at an academy like the Collegiate Academy, you look for a centralized location. I think that's what they did in Marion County with Westport High School. And the college being in Lecanto, that's sort of centered in our county. So we have so many students that get their AA degree while they're still in high school through the Lecanto campus. But as he said, if that's something that we wanted to look at and discuss, we could find out what it would take to get that.
The only thing with Lecanto is we have the IB program, and so it's not really conducive. A lot of the students that would, in essence, go to the IB program, it really doesn't lend itself to.
Well, I got misspoke. I meant the Lecanto CF campus.
Oh, I'm sorry. Now it's I missed it. Yeah, the one thing I would say is, again, and I don't think this board has actually taken up whether we are approving an academy or at a high school yet. I know Citrus High has been looking at that, but I don't know that we've established anything beyond that was a conversation that they were having. My concern with that is still cost involved, how that impacts students, because one of the things students continuously have been asking for is dual enrollment options. I understand the challenges with that, with what Mr. Clotter said, and that is having teachers that have the qualifications to be able to teach those courses, which is why AP has often been more easier to offer. But I certainly, you know, my concern is that anytime we look at an academy, is Citrus High right now is the most flexible school, and I think you might even say as a parent, you recognize that for students that want to take the most advantage of dual enrollment AP options. If you're in the Health Academy at Crystal River, that's limiting. If you're in the IB, that's limiting. So that's just, you know, something that I still want this board to be mindful of before we make a financial commitment to an academy. And I've brought up still, I have some concerns with some needs at some of the other locations
So,
too.
are you sort of reflecting what Mr. Dodd was reflecting about an academy at Citrus High, and you're thinking in the direction of dual enrollment, or?
I think it's two things. One, my question is if dual enrollment continues to be a growing requirement, I mean, there's a lot of parents that I will constantly say, oh, I'm going to structure my students' academic career so that they can get an AA or attempt to get as many credits in to get an AA. I hear a lot of parents across the district making that request and trying to structure their program. And in fact, I've been hearing from IB students, parents, that are saying they're doing PIBS for 2 years, and then they're going and doing dual enrollment for the previous 2 years, because they feel like PIBS gives them a foundation, and then they feel like they have the opportunities to take dual enrollment. So I'm just saying, if I'm hearing anything as far as needs in the community, that seems to be one that impacts the entire district. My concern as to, because the issue was brought up about an academy at Citrus High is, as I've always said, I still have concerns that are we meeting all of our needs at our other academies before we start opening up this need for another academy?
In reference to the Collegiate Academy at Westport that we're going to enter into this agreement with, would you please explain to me how a student from a Citrus County school would go to that program versus stay in their own high school and go to a dual enrollment class in Lecanto? How is this going to benefit our students? I know you said that there was a requirement of the law, but what would be an example of a student going to this collegiate academy?
We don't have a lot of students take advantage of that academy. They would have communication with their guidance counselors, or certain criteria that you have to have, a certain GPA, you have to have all the college entrance course exams passed, you know, either ACT or SAT, and also the PERT. And if they meet those qualifications, they would express that with our guidance counselors here on our campus, and then that enrollment would happen through CF and also Westport High School. And then they would become a Westport High School student.
Right, so they would become a student at Westport living in Citrus County, but they could become a Westport High School student enrolled in this Central Florida Collegiate High School.
Correct.
They can't enroll in any program like that out at Lecanto College.
Well, all of our students have the opportunity to take dual enrollment courses, so they have the same, not exactly the same opportunity, but a very similar opportunity here in Citrus County, because they can attend the Lecanto complex and still receive their AA or AS.
I think it's just neater in a package at Westport, whereas out here they're going to have to take the classes when they're offered, and then they can take a morning class and a night class, just like we would in regular college. But if they go to Westport, it's a canned package program, much like we used to do at WTC when we had the Collegiate Academy over here. So that's already planned out for them. Monday, Tuesday they do this, Wednesday, Thursday they do this.
And there's really no flexibility in that canned
No.
course, because when they went to WTC, they took specific courses.
Yeah.
So our students are able to go to CF and probably expand some of their courses.
There may be
they don't
more
take
choices
in
and electives.
So it's just different setups.
Do we have very many Citrus County students enrolled in this program?
I tried to pull the data, and we could not find any students participating in that.
And I think we've had a couple of students every year graduate from our schools with their AA and high school diploma.
Thank you.
And a significant number that have gotten number of credits, of college
Correct.
credits at them, because I know it's not uncommon to have a senior take nearly all of their classes out in dual enrollment. And like you said, Mr. Mullen, sometimes they'll take a morning, an afternoon, it depends on what they're taking, but,
And many of them do get their AA.
Right.
And
As
if
I
I go-
said, though, is, and Mark can speak to this, but I remember at WTC, it was pre-canned, and they took exactly what was offered for that, and it was a very generic AA degree. It was still good, but it was a very generic.
And as being a former middle school principal, I knew we had some parents talk about the Westport program and actually check into it. And then when they found out they could get pretty much the same program there at the Lecanto CF complex, they decided to take advantage of that.
Further comments? Ready to vote? To approve the agreement for College of Central Florida's Collegiate High School program. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 4-0. Next, Mr. Slaughter, curriculum update.
Okay. Two things actually for my curriculum update. One is that our professional development department, and under the direction of Lindy Werthaler, is actually facilitating a digital learning day for the January 5th Professional Development Day. We're going to have a variety of about 4 one-hour sessions that are being held at 2 sites for teachers in grades teachers of grades K through 12. And again, we'll all have a focus on technology, use of technology in the curriculum, and we're looking at a variety of presenters, not only just vendors that provide us with publishing materials or products, but also some of our own staff are coming forward and actually providing some of those sessions. So that's going to take place on January 5th, district-wide. The other item that I wanted to share with you that Mr. Mullen asked me to bring to you is that on October 21st, Mrs. Allegretta, myself, and Mr. Mullen sat down and met with Mike Nebesnik and really talked about the CERMI contract, the CERMI relation that we have, and they are in the process of looking at a 3-year plan with their board, and really what were our thoughts as far as where our direction is for CERMI. So I share with you that, again, we're just to have that conversation. We would like to bring Mr. Nebesnik back either in January or February to provide you with some data and some updates on how things are going at the CERMI facility, and to really kind of talk about what they've done in 2 years, and then start to talk about a contract for renewing that for 2 years, if that is your board's desire.
That's great. It's very timely because I think all of us are thinking about that, so
Yes.
it's very timely. Yes.
And that is it. Just a personal note, I truly have appreciated the opportunity to work with all of you. It really has been an absolute pleasure. I said to Mrs. Himmel the other day, I could not rewrite my career in Citrus County Schools. It has absolutely been wonderful, and you guys have provided me with such a wonderful opportunity. I truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Mark, before you sit down, I'd just like to say publicly about how much we will miss McClaughter. When he called the other day, he said, "Do you have a minute?" And for some reason I said, "Not if you're telling me you're retiring." He has been a rock in this district, you know, and it brings tears to your eyes sometimes when you sit back and think of all the knowledge that we're going to be losing the next several years. We've got knowledge coming up the system, but Mark has certainly been there, and no matter what we talk about in executive session, Mark has a story about it. So he has failed in one aspect, that he could never keep me on task to follow the agenda, but we did get through it many, many times. And Mark, you've been a pleasure to work with, and I have received many, many emails and texts about what a great guy this district feels like you are. So we appreciate your service, Citrus County kids.
Thank you, Ms. Himmel. I appreciate it.
Take one moment, Mark. Chris is going to take a picture with you and us. Where do you want us? Up front? Up there.
You'll want this for your scrapbook.
Or dark.
Dartboard, yeah.
Join us.
Absolutely.
Mike?
Come
on, Mike.
We won't say anything about the wide angle in.
Do we need to scoot to the right or anything? Are we good?
Ready. One more. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's wallet size. It's just wallet size. Thank you.
Hey. I already got
Yeah. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
So moved.
Second?
Okay. Mr. Dodd, did you second? Mr. Kennedy, okay. Mrs. Bryant moved to approve the minutes, Mr. Kennedy seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carries 4-0. Thank you. We can go into, did she come in? Okay. Wes, do you want to offer
Just
first?
to give you all an update, the last time we had a board meeting, I asked you if I could file a motion to file an amicus curiae brief in the litigation that was going on, just to let you know the court did grant the motion, and you have until December 24th to file an amicus curiae brief in the litigation that's going on between the county and Goodfellas. So the letter did go out to to both cities in regards to their garbage and the pickup. The Inverness City Council had a meeting which I attended and had to explain some things to them in regard to, this was an economical matter and the fact that we could put, if we save money on that, we can put more teachers in classrooms and different things like that. And I think the board, the council took that well. They weren't too terribly upset about it, although it may affect the city, but we explained that it's your job to save that money where you can, especially by legal means. And then I've also had a conversation with the attorney for the city of Crystal River. He called me last week and had just gotten a copy of the letter through his city manager and said he would contact me in the next couple of weeks to let me know what they intended on doing. But I know the city of Inverness, they asked if there was anything that they could do about it to their legal counsel to advise them no. So, and outside of that, that's all. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving.
About 4 more minutes before the presentation. Mike, would you like to offer any comments?
Just an update on some things that we're
doing. We'll be meeting, Mr. Bishop and I'll be meeting with some staff shortly to start doing FTE projections for next year. Those numbers have already been out to the school for the principals to take a look at. Mr. Bishop and HR have been looking for job fairs to start going to. I think they've already gone to 1 or 2 to start recruiting teachers for next school year. We're going to expand that like we have done in the past and go to some out-of-state job fairs in the spring of the year so that we can try to improve on the hiring practices that we had this past year. And we just found that there was a lot more vacancies than teachers coming out, so we're trying to expand that search to fill more of those jobs.
I imagine, Mr. Kennedy, when you begin to speak, it'll be a little longer, so let's not go to you right now. Let's go to the presentation.
She's right.
She's worked with me long enough, she knows.
Yeah, but if you're putting before something has to, I'm certain has to.
That's true, that's true. I didn't think of that.
Y'all bear with me. I wrote it down so I wouldn't miss anything because there's a lot of accomplishments that this individual has been able to achieve in such a short amount of time. So I'm truly honored and excited to introduce Kelly Niblett, School Nutrition Specialist for the Superintendent's Making a Difference Award. It's hard to believe, but Kelly has only worked for the school district just 3 short years. In that time, Kelly has exemplified the true definition of making a difference. Kelly recently became one of only 1,300 individuals to have achieved the nationwide distinction of School Nutrition Specialist. Kelly had to pass a rigorous exam while demonstrating professional achievement in 4 learning areas of USDA professional standards for school nutrition personnel. These areas included nutrition, sanitation and safety, equipment specifications, procurement, financial accountability, and the wonderful government guidelines. As with any department or work area, especially food service, the day-to-day operations can get a little hectic at times. Yet Kelly is only too happy to use her nutrition knowledge as a registered and licensed dietitian to help others with diet therapy. She has created a wonderful bond with our school nurses, whose students require special diets. Our school nurses asked, and Kelly developed, a carbohydrate count cheat sheet for our nurses to utilize when educating their students with diabetes on what items to choose from our school meals. In addition, Kelly works very closely with parents and local health professionals to ensure special diets are followed for students with food allergies and/or certain medical conditions. In addition to working with our nurses, Kelly furthered her professional education by becoming a ServSafe instructor. This allows the food service department to have its own in-house proctor to ensure all our food service managers and assistant managers maintain their ServSafe food safety certification. If that isn't enough, Kelly manages to be the chairman for the District Wellness Committee, is a member of the School Health Advisory Committee, and has been a guest several times on the Citrus Today show, where she offered great insight into school meals. And last but certainly not least, Kelly is a candidate for this year's Citrus County School District School-Related Employee of the Year. As we can all see, individuals like Kelly do not come along too often. She is another shining example as to why Citrus County Schools is an A+ school district, and she is truly deserving of the Superintendent's Making a Difference Award. I present to you Kelly Niblett.
I didn't know where the marshmallow Santa fell on.
She's
at the bottom. At the bottom. Thank you, Kelly. Do you want to introduce your family?
Oh, they're gonna be embarrassed, but that's my wonderful husband, Mark. That's my wonderful son, Logan.
I see him all.
Mark,
Logan, come on up, get a picture.
Oh, he said to me anything but. Yeah.
I thought
It's
Roy-
his fault.
Yeah, that's all right. We gotta include you in here. Those are the men of her life.
Calling you up here? Not really. We'll fake it.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Roy.
I know. Do y'all want to take a quick break? No? No. Well, there goes that idea.
Did you, Chairman, Mr. Chairman, did you need to?
I was
If
wanting
we,
to, but.
we can, yes, that's fine. If you
You'll
need
agree?
to. Yeah,
That's
we'll
good.
agree.
Well, Mr. Kennedy agrees, we'll do it. Let's do a 7-minute break.
7 minutes.
7 minutes. Back at 10 after.